Good day, and welcome back to Life in Timeless Art. Today, we're diving into a realm where the Drakes of the world wouldn't survive in a world subdued by the unrelenting truths in the artistic space ruled by the Kendrick Lamars of the world. Those who carry the weight of truth pierce through facades, exposing the insecurities and obscurities buried in artistry. Join me as we unpack the dynamics of the Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef that heated up during the summer 2024. A lyrical clash that transcended mere rivalry to spotlight two distinct philosophies of artistry. This wasn't just about disses and wordplay. It was a confrontation between truth and facade, between raw authenticity and polished relatability. Let's dive into the tension, the power plays, and the enduring impact of this battle on the landscape of music and culture. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe and turn on your notification bell for more depth contents on this channel. In the landscape of music and culture, there exists a fascinating dichotomy, a symbolic tug-of-war between the Drakes of the world and the Kendricks of the world. This dynamic transcends the superficial boundaries of genre, musical style, or lyrical themes. It delves into the essence of artistic expression and its role as a mirror to the human condition. Drake, with his introspective vulnerability and melodic accessibility, represents a lens of relatability, a modern confessional poet whose art thrives on personal narrative and emotional immediacy. On the other hand, Kendrick Lamar channels the depth of the collective, an artist-philosopher weaving intricate narratives of societal critique, identity, and transcendent truth. Together, they embody a duality that compels us to question not only how we perceive art, but also how we understand ourselves and the cultural tides that shape us. The facades into truth. The Drakes of the world thrive in a realm of relatability, crafting narratives that resonate with the joys and sorrows of modern love, success, and self-perception. Drake's artistry is marked by an almost therapeutic ability to articulate the surface-level thinking of the masses. His lyrics often feel like diary entries transformed into anthems, intensely personal, yet universally understood. He embodies the everyman, a figure whose art mirrors the aspirations and insecurities of his audience. In this sense, his work offers a form of emotional validation, a safe space where listeners see their lives reflected back at them, expressed in an authentic, robotic, poetic way. Yet, in a world dominated by the Kendricks, this relatability might falter under the scrutiny of deeper truths. Kendrick Lamar represents a contrasting archetype, an artist who carries the weight of unflinching truth, exposing the systemic, societal, and personal struggles that often lie buried beneath surface-level aesthetics. His music operates on a different frequency, one that challenges rather than comforts. Kendrick's art is not about holding a mirror to the audience. It is about holding up a magnifying glass to the world, revealing the intricate and often painful realities of existence. From systemic racism to internal conflicts, his narratives provoke reflection and demand accountability, disrupting the comfort of surface-level engagement. Truth, as Kendrick wields it, is not gentle. It pierces through facades, exposing the obscurities and insecurities that sometimes underpin artistry. In this light, the Drakes of the world are akin to mirrors, reflecting collective sentiment, while the Kendricks act as windows, offering a raw, unfiltered view into the depths of existence. Where Drake's narratives invite audiences to dwell within their own emotions, Kendrick's compels them to step outside themselves and confront the broader human condition. The mirror comforts, the window challenges. This dichotomy highlights a profound philosophical tension in art. The balance between relatability and revelation. Relatability allows art to connect on an emotional level, offering solace and companionship. Revelation, however, seeks to dismantle illusions and expose hidden truths, often at the cost of comfort. Both approaches are necessary, as they serve different but complementary purposes. While the mirror fosters empathy by reflecting shared experiences, the window cultivates awareness by urging us to face uncomfortable realities. Ultimately, the dynamic between the Drakes and the Kendricks of the world is not a matter of opposition, but a dialogue. Together, they demonstrate that art can simultaneously soothe and unsettle, validate and provoke. The human condition, in all its complexity, requires both mirrors and windows. It is through this interplay of facades and truth that art continues to evolve, offering not just a reflection of our lives, but a path to understanding them more deeply. Artistry used as combat weapon. The dynamics between these archetypes become particularly vivid when artistry is framed as a form of combat. The Drakes of the world stir up commotion and conflict by sending subliminal messages to their opponent, which often come from a place of passive aggression while dancing around being vulnerable to their audience. Their tools are subtle, rooted in the allure of catchy hooks, clever wordplay, and narratives that weave listeners into a shared emotional tapestry. They master the art of persuasion through relatability, crafting moments that feel personal, yet universal. However, these tools, though effective, can falter against the unyielding force of a Kendrick, whose approach transcends the superficial and ventures into the realm of unadulterated truth. When the Kendrick archetype wield their penmanship, the result is not a mere lyrical sparring match, but an upheaval of norms. Their artistry carries a profound, almost spiritual ferocity, dismantling the frameworks of comfort and illusion that often underpin the Drake's narratives. The work of a Kendrick doesn't simply engage, it confronts, interrogates, and ultimately transforms. It is a force that demands introspection, not just from their audience, but from their peers as well. In this artistic arena, the Kendricks become disruptors, exposing the fragility of facades and elevating the conversation to a higher plane of existential truth. The polished veneers and accessible personas of the Drakes, so effective in drawing listeners into their orbit, can find themselves outmatched in these moments. The strategies that thrive on emotional relatability and surface-level engagement struggle to withstand the tidal wave of unvarnished truth that the Kendricks unleash. When faced with art that operates on such a visceral and uncompromising level, the charm of subtlety may seem inadequate. Even inconsequential, the Kendricks compels a reckoning, both personal and societal, that does not allow for evasion or retreat into comfort. This clash of approaches is not merely about style, but about purpose. The Drakes aim to connect, to soothe your emotional needs where listeners can see themselves and feel less alone. The Kendricks, however, aim to disrupt, to challenge, to use their art as a weapon against complacency. Their words are not just lyrics but calls to action. Their melodies not just pleasing but haunting reminders of truths often ignored. In this combat, the stakes extend beyond individual artistry, touching on the broader role of art in shaping culture and consciousness. Yet, even in this conflict, there is a strange harmony. The Drakes and the Kendricks, for all their differences, serve complementary purposes. One provides solace, while the other delivers challenge. One reflects, while the other reframes. Together, they form a spectrum of artistic expression that captures the duality of the human experience, the desire for comfort and the need for truth. It is through this tension, this interplay of forces, that art continues to thrive, pushing boundaries and holding a mirror to both our individual and collective realities. The philosophical divide. This dichotomy extends beyond music, touching on broader philosophical themes. The Drakes of the world represent a kind of postmodern relativity, the belief that truth is subjective, fluid, and shaped by individual perception. They thrive in a landscape where meaning is malleable, where personal experience becomes the central lens through which reality is understood. Their art mirrors the fragmented, ever-shifting narratives of modern life, resonating with an audience that finds comfort in relatability and the validation of their individual truths. In contrast, the Kendricks embody an almost existentialist quest for authenticity, grounded in the conviction that certain truths are universal and unyielding. Their work rejects the idea that reality can be endlessly redefined by personal perspective. Instead, they insist on confronting the deeper, often uncomfortable aspects of existence: systemic injustice, spiritual struggle, and the pursuit of purpose. For the Kendricks, art is not merely a reflection of individual experience, but a medium for unveiling and grappling with the shared truths that underpin the human condition. Consider the metaphor of the Tinder swipe, a fleeting gesture that encapsulates the essence of modern relationships and identities. The Drakes might flourish in this ephemeral space, crafting narratives that celebrate its highs and lament its inevitable lows. Their songs might reflect the transient joys of a match or the sting of ghosting, capturing the pulse of a culture built on immediacy and surface-level connection. In this realm, their relatability becomes their strength, allowing them to thrive in a reality defined by rapid shifts and fleeting emotions. But the Kendricks challenge the very foundation of such a reality, probing deeper into what it means to connect, to struggle, and to exist in a world rife with superficiality. They ask not how one feels in the moment, but what it means to be human in the face of impermanence. Their artistry confronts the structures and systems that give rise to such fleeting interactions, seeking to expose the emptiness that often lurks beneath them. For the Kendricks, the swipe is not just a gesture, but a symbol of a culture that prioritizes convenience over depth, and they urge us to resist this pull toward the shallow and fleeting. This philosophical tension, the relativity of the Drakes versus the authenticity of the Kendricks, forces us to confront our own relationship with truth. Do we embrace the comfort of relatability, the idea that our individual experiences and perceptions are sufficient to define our realities? Or do we challenge ourselves to seek something deeper, to acknowledge the universal truths that bind us, even as they unsettle us? In this interplay, the Drakes and the Kendricks do not merely reflect their audiences, they shape the way we engage with the world, offering us both mirrors and magnifying glasses as tools for understanding our place within it. All right, folks, let me break this down, Fontano style, a tale of two worlds, two mindsets, two schools of artistry. Cowardice and courage. Or, more appropriately, Drake versus Kendrick. Now, imagine you've got Drake, our emotionally vulnerable, crooning architect of relatability. The guy's like a mood playlist for the highs, the lows, and all the in-betweens of modern life. He's the dude you throw on when you're scrolling through your ex's Instagram or staring out the bus window, pretending you're in a sad music video. Drake's art is polished, approachable, and he's real good at making you feel seen. He's building connections like a social media algorithm, personal, universal, and hella catchy. But then, you've got Kendrick. And Kendrick, he's not here to hold your hand. Oh no, Kendrick's pen doesn't just write, it cuts. His verses are a scalpel, slicing through the facade, the fluff, the pretty little lies we tell ourselves. Kendrick doesn't care if you're comfortable. In fact, he's counting on you being uncomfortable. He's dragging you through the muck, making you face truths you didn't even know you were avoiding. It's not just music, it's soul surgery. Drake wants to build a bridge to your heart. Kendrick wants to tear down the whole damn house and show you what's been hiding in the basement. And listen, that's not to knock Drake. The world needs that emotional balm, that smooth vibe that makes the hard days feel a little softer. But where Drake's music is a comforting mirror, Kendrick's is a ruthless window, forcing you to look out into the cold, raw reality of the world. This tension between the two, that's where the magic happens. It's the push and pull of art as comfort and art as challenge. Drake, he's the soundtrack for the fleeting, the now, the vibe of a culture caught up in the moment. Kendrick, he's timeless, leaving marks so deep they echo long after the track fades. Together, they show us two sides of the same coin, one that soothes and one that confronts. And honestly, that's what keeps music alive. Sometimes you need a shoulder to cry on. Other times you need a shove into the fire. And as long as we've got both, we're better for it. So big love to the Drakes and the Kendricks of the world. Keep doing your thing, fellas. Keep giving us the mirrors and the windows, the comfort and the reckoning. Balance, baby. That's what it's all about. A symbiotic dance. Yet, to frame this as a simple battle of superiority would be to miss the nuanced interplay between these archetypes. The Drakes and Kendricks of the world serve distinct but equally vital roles in the grand tapestry of artistry and culture. Drake's relatability is a balm for the weary soul, offering solace through shared experiences and a sense of community. His music invites listeners into a world where their joys and sorrows are echoed, their vulnerabilities validated. It is a kind of emotional companionship, creating space for reflection without demanding confrontation. On the other hand, Kendrick's truth-telling operates as a crucible for growth, stripping away illusions and forcing a raw reckoning with reality. His art is not designed for comfort, but for confrontation, challenging listeners to wrestle with the complexities of identity, justice, and existence. Kendrick's work is a call to arms, urging us to step outside ourselves, to grapple with truths that are universal and inescapable. It is this insistence on growth and reflection that makes his artistry so potent, so necessary. In their coexistence, these archetypes offer a comprehensive portrait of the human experience. Drake represents the soft light of familiarity, the soothing acknowledgement of our shared emotions, while Kendrick embodies the relentless fire of transformation, pushing us to confront the shadows we might prefer to ignore. Together, they balance comfort with challenge, illusion with reality, creating a dynamic spectrum where listeners can find both refuge and revolution. This duality is what makes their interplay so compelling. Without the Drakes, the weight of truth might become too heavy to bear, leaving audiences without the respite of relatability. Without the Kendricks, the ease of relatability might devolve into complacency, leaving vital truths unspoken and unexplored. It is through their tension and harmony that they reveal the multifaceted nature of art and its capacity to both soothe and provoke. Ultimately, the Drakes and Kendricks do not merely coexist, they complete one another. They remind us that to be human is to oscillate between seeking comfort and confronting truth, to embrace both the mirrors that reflect us and the windows that challenge us to see beyond ourselves. It is in this balance that art transcends entertainment, becoming a force that shapes not only culture, but the very way we understand ourselves and the world around us. Conclusion: survival and legacy. In a world subdued by Kendricks, survival for the Drakes would necessitate adaptation, a willingness to embrace discomfort, shed their polished veneers, and delve deeper into the complexities of existence. The familiar allure of relatability would no longer suffice. Instead, they would need to sharpen their narratives, confronting the unspoken truths that lie beneath their accessible exteriors. This evolution wouldn't mean abandoning their strengths, but expanding their artistic scope to engage with the deeper, often messier aspects of humanity. Conversely, in a world dominated by Drakes, the Kendricks would face a different challenge, finding ways to make their uncompromising truths more accessible without diluting their potency. To reach a broader audience without sacrificing depth, they might explore new forms of storytelling or incorporate elements of relatability into their work. This isn't about softening their message, but about building bridges, crafting pathways that draw audiences closer to the uncomfortable yet transformative truths they reveal. Ultimately, this dynamic is less a battle for dominance and more an enduring dialogue between two vital archetypes. It is in this interplay that artistry finds its richest expression, reflecting the multifaceted nature of humanity. The Drakes and Kendricks represent two halves of a whole, one offering solace, the other provoking growth, one reflecting the surface, the other revealing the depths. Together, they ensure that art remains a space where both comfort and challenge coexist, each amplifying the value of the other. This balance reminds us of a fundamental truth: both relatability and confrontation are essential. Facades, as the Drakes craft them, may provide temporary shelter, a safe harbor in an uncertain world. But it is the weight of truth, carried so fearlessly by the Kendricks, that builds enduring legacies. Truth pierces through the transient, leaving behind something lasting. Art that resonates not just for a moment, but for generations. In this ongoing dance, the Drakes and Kendricks of the world teach us about the dual nature of the human experience. We crave both understanding and challenge, comfort and disruption, the familiar and the profound. Their coexistence serves as a reminder that artistry is most powerful when it embraces this duality, offering not just mirrors to reflect who we are, but windows through which we can see who we might become. All right, guys, that's going to be a wrap. This discussion on the dynamic interplay between Kendrick Lamar and Drake, two giants who, in their own ways, represent the duality of comfort and challenge in modern music. But hey, what do you think? Are you more drawn to Drake's relatable, emotional vibes, or do you feel the pull of Kendrick's thought-provoking, truth-telling artistry? Let me know down in the comments. And don't forget to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and click the bell so you don't miss any future drops. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Stay hydrated, stay thoughtful. You know what it is. Peace.